Vendoo and List Perfectly. If you're on the hunt for a cross-listing platform, you've probably heard of these two sites, but which one is the best one for your reselling business? Today, I'm going to walk you through all of the differences, strengths, and weaknesses of these two cross-listing platforms so that you can make an informed decision to decide which one best suits your needs. Hi guys, my name is Macy and I am a full-time reseller on this channel. I put out reselling content to help you succeed at your reselling business. If that sounds like something that interests you, hit subscribe down below and also tap the bell so that you know next time I put out a new video. Today we are going to be looking at everything you need to know about Vendoo and List Perfectly because I think it's interesting that these two have really risen in the reselling world to be the top cross-listing services out there, and I wanted to know what it is about each one that makes it appealing. Also was really interested to see what the differences were between them and if one of the cross-listing platforms was actually better than the other one in some ways. And that might depend on what kind of reseller you are, so we'll get into all that. Alright, so let's start off with the agenda so I can break down what we're going to go over in this video. First, we're going to be talking about what Vendoo and List Perfectly are and the main difference between these two cross-listing platforms. Then we're going to go over all of the features that they offer and the different pricing plans that go with those features. Then we'll do a site walkthrough of both Vendoo and List Perfectly. And lastly, we'll round it out with how you can go about choosing which one is best for you. And I will include timestamps in the description down below because I am expecting this to be a fairly long video with a lot of different parts. So if there is anything in particular you're interested in, go check out the description and you'll probably find a timestamp for it there. Both are Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge browser extensions, and you can use them on either a computer or a laptop. List Perfectly also allows you to add products to the List Perfectly catalog via a phone or a tablet. There is one major difference between Vendoo and List Perfectly you need to know before we can get into all of their different features and pricing plans, and that is how you actually go about cross-posting on these two services. So starting off with Vendoo, the first thing that you need to do is get your item into the Vendoo inventory page, and then from the inventory page you can cross-post from there to any of the desired platforms that you want the listing to be cross-posted to. So there are two ways that you can get the item into the Vendoo inventory page. One, you can create the item in Vendoo itself, or two, you can import the item from a site that you already have the item posted on. So let's say you have an item up on eBay, you want to get it onto Poshmark and Mercari. You would first import the item from eBay into Vendoo, and then on Vendoo, you would cross-post it to Poshmark and Mercari. This is different from how you do cross-posting on List Perfectly. On List Perfectly, you have two options. You can either cross-post similarly to Vendoo using the List Perfectly catalog. You can either create the listing in the List Perfectly catalog, or you can import a listing into the List Perfectly catalog and then cross-post from there to all of your desired marketplaces. Or you can do a direct marketplace to marketplace cross-post, which is if you have an item listed on eBay again, let's say, then you can cross-post directly from eBay to a different platform like Poshmark or Mercari or wherever else directly from eBay. So you can completely bypass the List Perfectly inventory page if you wanted to. On List Perfectly, it's called the List Perfectly product catalog. So they use different language there, but it's the same thing. It's an inventory or product catalog of items that you have listed. So you can either choose to use that for List Perfectly or you can decide not to use it. On Vendoo, you have to use the Vendoo inventory page in order to cross-post. They do not offer a marketplace to marketplace option. I want to quickly cover which marketplaces each cross-listing platform covers, because if it doesn't have your marketplace, then there's no point in using it, you know? Both of them, Vendoo and List Perfectly, have Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Depop, Etsy, Grailed, Kidizen, and Tradesy available in their cross-posting lineup. Keep in mind that on Vendoo, Tradesy and Citizen are both in beta testing. So they are available, but they are still in the testing phase, so there may be some glitches or issues that they're working to work out the kinks of. On List Perfectly, there are 2 additional platforms that they offer, and that is Facebook Marketplace and Shopify. You do have to pay extra for Shopify. It is only available in some of the higher priced plans. We will get into all of that next. All right, let's move on to the features that each cross-listing service offers, and then we will also talk about the pricing along the way. Vendoo has a couple more pricing plans than List Perfectly does, so there's not always an apples to apples comparison with the pricing plans. I will start off with Vendoo's lowest pricing plan because it is the cheapest out there and there is not an equivalent for List Perfectly. The next plan up from that, we will start comparing the two. To kick us off, on Vendoo, the cheapest plan that they have to offer is called the Starter Plan, and it is $8.99 a month. That includes 25 listings a month. Remember that for Vendoo, you have to use the Vendoo inventory or listings in order to cross-post. So that is it. You have 25 listings a month unless you pay extra and bump yourself up to one of the higher plans. Now, to be super clear, that is how many listings you can put into Vendoo, and then from there you can cross post to 3 different platforms unless you pay to add more platforms. For example, I could add an item into Vendoo that would use 1 listing, and then I can use that 1 listing and cross post to eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And I could do that 24 more times if I wanted to. So for Vendoo, all of the listing details are included in your subscription. On List Perfectly, there are restrictions depending on what plan you have. There's also this thing called bulk cross-posting, which is strictly a List Perfectly feature. How many marketplaces do you get? For Vendoo, you get 3 for free, and then if you want to pay an extra $4.99 a month, you can add on all of the marketplaces that they have to offer. I personally only cross-post on Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari. It's hard to keep up with too many platforms, so I don't mind that they only offer 3, and I just don't pay for that add-on feature because I don't need it. Image hosting and image sizing is free, included in your Vendoo subscription, which just means that they will resize the images for you depending on what platform you're listing it to. Then there is the image editor. Only Vendoo allows you to edit your photos in the Vendoo web app itself. It's very basic editing, but I do use it quite often myself. The list and relist option, this is an optional add-on feature for Vendoo if you want, for $4.99 a month, and it allows you to quickly delist an item from any platform that you want to, and then with the click of a button relist it onto that platform without any additional input from you. Importing, this is again an optional add-on feature for Vendoo. It allows you to import your listing into Vendoo from any of the other sites that you may already have a listing posted on. I personally do not use this add-on feature because I create my listings in Vendoo to begin with, so you don't need this optional add-on if you are creating your listings in Vendoo itself. Analytics and CSV download, that is a free feature that you can use if you desire. Copy listings, this allows you to, for any listing within the Vendoo inventory, press a copy button and it will copy the listing for you, but then all of the details of that listing for whatever sites you cross-posted it to and all the details you put in there will be copied, including the photos, so you can just adjust it however you need to fit a similar item. And reusable templates. This is once again a List Perfectly only feature, which is you can create a listing template by copying a listing or just starting off with a fresh blank template and adding in as you need. And then let's say you wanted a listing template for a pair of jeans, you could put in any details that you always put in for a pair of jeans. Let's say, you know, in the description you always put in good use condition, please refer to photos for measurements across laying flat, like I do at the end of all my listings. You can create a listing template and include that in the description, and then any other details that you want in the listing template already. And then every time you go to list a pair of jeans, you can use that listing template as a starting point if you want to. To me, it's the same sort of idea as the copy feature. Okay, so that was a starter plan for Vendoo, and those are all of the different features that we will be looking at for comparison purposes going forward for all the other pricing plans. Next up is a comparison. Now we are comparing the Vendoo Simple Plan versus the List Perfectly Simple Plan. They have the same name. On Vendoo, the Simple Plan is $19.99 a month, and on List Perfectly, it is $29 a month. Now keep in mind, Vendoo has additional optional add-ons that you can pay an additional $4.99 for, or if you want to bundle all 3 of those add-on features that I talked about, it's $11.99 a month. They reduce the price by a few bucks if you are getting all 3. So do keep that in mind every time I mention a Vendoo price, because you may want to use some of those additional add-on options. So make sure to add that to the base price whenever you are looking to compare these two. For List Perfectly, the only add-on that they have is if you want more listings, and I will pop up a little picture of their tiered add-on listings options, because it's different depending on what plan you're looking at getting or what plan you currently have. Okay, so let's talk about listings. Remember, for Vendoo, it's called the inventory page, and for List Perfectly, it's called the List Perfectly catalog, and it's how many items you can have within the web apps themselves. So for Vendoo, they will give you 125 listings a month for the simple plan, and for List Perfectly, it's 100 items total. Now, the reason that I specified whether it was per month or total is because it makes a difference. On Vendoo, you can have as many items being hosted as you paid for. So let's say every month you've paid for Vendoo, you've been on there for 6 months, and you got 100 listings every single month. At the end of that 6 months, you would have 600 listings in Vendoo. Whereas with List Perfectly, you have to pay more if you want them to host more products. For the simple plan, you can only have 100 products in your List Perfectly catalog. If you want more, you have to pay an additional fee, which once again I will put over here so that you can see what it looks like. So if you wanted 600 items to be hosted by List Perfectly, you would need to pay up to that 600 total additional price. I hope that makes sense. It's confusing because these are 2 different sites and I'm trying to compare them apples to apples, and they work differently. I forgot to mention something that's pretty important, so I wanted to add that in, and that is, if you are using List Perfectly, you can cross-post an unlimited number of times. Whether that's cross-posting from List Perfectly to different platforms or from marketplace to marketplace, you can do it as many times as you want. It is the number of products that you can store in your List Perfectly catalog that changes depending on what plan you have. All right, let's talk about details for cross-posting. Like I mentioned before, on Vendoo, all the details that you put into Vendoo for each listing are going to be cross-posted onto the sites that you cross-post to. For List Perfectly, with the simple plan, you get image, title, and description. That's it. If you want additional details to be cross-posted, you need to pay for one of the higher plans. Bulk cross-posting. Remember, this is a List Perfectly only feature, and I will do a tutorial of how the bulk cross-posting actually looks whenever we get to the tutorial. But for the simple plan, you don't get bulk cross-posting, so you would need to pay for one of the higher plans for that. Marketplaces. For List Perfectly, you get all of the marketplaces that they offer except for Shopify. You do not get Shopify with the simple plan. Just like Vendoo, List Perfectly also offers free image hosting. Once again, actually editing the images in the web apps is a Vendoo only feature. Okay, delisting and relisting. Like I mentioned, on Vendoo, you do have to pay an additional $4.99 for this feature. I do pay for that add-on feature, and I definitely think that it's worth it. On List Perfectly, I put free because there is a way to do it on List Perfectly, but it doesn't work the same way as it does on Vendoo, and it's not as good. For List Perfectly, if you want to delist and relist, you would first mark the item as sold, and then it will delist from the platforms. And then if you want to relist, you simply go through and cross post like you would with any other listing. You just cross post it to whatever sites you want it to be cross posted to. The difference between List Perfectly and Vendoo here is that on Vendoo, you're inputting all of your listing details into Vendoo itself. So whenever it gets relisted onto Vendoo, you don't have to go into each site and make any additional edits because you already made them in Vendoo itself the first time that you did the cross posting. Whereas with List Perfectly, it doesn't have all of the different item details in List Perfectly. So every time you relist something on List Perfectly, you would have to go into that site that you're relisting on and fill in any additional details that List Perfectly wasn't able to fill in for you. In other words, on Vendoo, it literally takes 2 seconds because you press delist and then you press relist and you're done relisting. On List Perfectly, you quickly delist, yes, but relisting requires additional time because you have to fill in all of those additional details that you did the first time you cross-posted it. Now, the thing with List Perfectly that gives it a leg up on Vendoo is that you can bulk delist. So on Vendoo, you have to go in one at a time and delist items, whereas on List Perfectly, you can check a box for however many items you want to be marked as sold, and then you can just mark them all as sold. So that is a little bit faster than Vendoo. Importing on List Perfectly, it is free. List Perfectly also has an analytics and CSV download option, and it is better than Vendoo's. If you are inputting all of the different details that you can into List Perfectly, you can get quite a good look at all of your numbers, your cost of goods sold, how much things sold for, how much you paid for shipping, all of that jazz, your profit. All of that can be stored as data in List Perfectly itself for you to look back on. It is not as easy with Vendoo to keep track of all of that data within Vendoo itself. Copy listings, just like Vendoo, List Perfectly also has a duplicate listing option and reusable templates. Once again, this is a List Perfectly only option. Now that I've gone over all of the different features for both Vendoo and List Perfectly, I will quickly go over the remaining pricing plans for you guys. Since you already know what all of the features do and how they work a little bit on each site, we can just quickly run through the list for these other plans. The next plan up from the simple plan is called the Plus plan on Vendoo, and it's called the Business plan on List Perfectly. For Vendoo, Plus plan is $29.99 a month. On List Perfectly, it is $49 a month. Remember, if you're adding on any of those additional options for Vendoo, make sure to add that to the price so that you can get a realistic comparison between the two. Number of listings that you get. On Vendoo, you get 250 listings. On List Perfectly, you get 300 listings. Details for cross-posting. All inclusive on Vendoo. For List Perfectly, you get now image, title, description, price, MSRP, UPC, color, size, material, keywords, brand, quantity, and SKU. Bulk cross-posting is now included in this plan. Remember, it wasn't included in the simple plan, but now that we are up to the business plan for List Perfectly, it is included. Also included is Shopify. So all 10 marketplaces are included. For List Perfectly, for Vendoo, you would have to pay extra for more than 3 marketplaces. All the rest of the features remain the same as the simple plan for both Vendoo and List Perfectly. Moving on, the next plan up is called the Pro plan. Both Vendoo and List Perfectly named it the Pro plan. On Vendoo, the cost is $49.99 a month, and on List Perfectly, it is $69 a month. Number of listings you get. For Vendoo, you get 600 listings a month, and for List Perfectly, you get 500 total a month. Details for cross-posting. Since we're up to the Pro plan, you get even more details for cross-posting from List Perfectly. So now on List Perfectly, you get image, title, description, price, MSRP, UPC, color, size, material, keywords, brand, quantity, SKU. You now get international size, condition, shipping weight, dimensions, and convert inches to centimeters. All other features remain the same for both Vendoo and List Perfectly. Continuing on, the only thing that's going to change from here on out is just the number of listings you get and the price that you pay. So List Perfectly doesn't have any additional pricing plans from here. Vendoo does, but I can make comparisons with List Perfectly because they have that additional amount that you can pay for more listings. So I included that to give you a comparable pricing plan between the two. So on Vendoo, there is a plan called the Advanced Plan, which is $99 a month and gives you 2,000 listings. The last option that Vendoo has in terms of plans is called the Expert Plan. It's $149.99 a month. You get 4,000 listings. Okay, are you guys tired of hearing numbers? I know there's a lot of plans. Yeah, I know. I will definitely include links down below to both Vendoo and List Perfectly so that you can look at all of the details of each plan for yourself in their beautiful way that they present this information. I am just trying to compare the two for you as apples to apples as I can. Real quick, I wanted to show you what the CSV download looks like for each site. On Vendoo, you get a spreadsheet that has all of your inventory, and it has these title headers: title, description, brand, condition, primary color, secondary color, tags or keywords, SKU, category, price, status, either active or sold, listed date, sold date, listing platforms, and internal notes. So of course you could filter that however you wanted to in order to get some more information out of it. On List Perfectly, the spreadsheet that you get has all of your inventory, or you can specify specific dates to get your inventory. I think you can do the same thing on Vendoo. And the title headers you get are date, title, main image, UPC, brand, color, size, material, SKU, price, custom description, product link, sites, sold, cost of goods, sold price, shipping cost, other cost, and sold date. A little bit more information for you to filter through and analyze to your heart's desire there if you inputted all that information into List Perfectly. It could be very helpful if you do not have your own personal spreadsheet that you use to keep track of your inventory. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys the walkthrough of each site, Vendoo and List Perfectly, so that you can see exactly what is going on within each of these sites. Okay, I just wanted to give you guys a quick walkthrough of Vendoo and show you everything that it has to offer. So I'm here on the inventory tab, which is where you store all of the products that you put up for sale, and then it will show you what sites you have each item listed on. So you can see that this pair of Vince pants is listed on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, whereas this pair of Michael Kors pants is just listed on eBay and Poshmark. There's also filters up here if you want to search for anything in particular, or filter by marketplace, or filter even by marketplace not listed. So I could search for eBay, view not listed, and see everything that I haven't listed on eBay. Same with any of the other sites. And the reason that some of them are grayed out is because I haven't connected to those sites. I haven't listed anything on them. I could also sort my inventory by date created, newest, date created, oldest, date modified, newest, alphabetical, or price. If you go over here, you can create a listing, and then you can either choose to import a listing, or you can choose to create the listing yourself, and you would fill out any of the details here on this first tab, the general Vendoo tab. And then after you're done completing this stuff, you would press save, and then it would transfer that information to these other tabs. And then you go into each of those tabs, and then you can complete any of the missing parts that you haven't completed yet. And then down at the bottom, you can list to whatever site you want to list to. I want to show you an import. So let's import from Poshmark. Okay, so I'm importing from Poshmark, and I want to search for an item that I have listed on Poshmark, but do not have listed it yet in Vendoo itself. So I'm searching for BCBG because I know that this dress here, which you can see is not grayed out, because all of the grayed out items are already listed in my Vendoo inventory. It even tells you if you created and listed from Vendoo itself. So this BCBG max ASRI address, I'm going to check that and import. And if you wanted to import multiple items, you could just check the box for as many items as you want and press import all at once. But I just have this one item that I want to bring in. So that's going to load and bring the item into the Vendoo listing area for me so that I can complete any additional information I want and save it. So like I want to add the package weight, which is 12, and save. If I wanted to, I could also tell Vendoo that I have this listed in eBay and Mercari as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to eBay, and there it is. I'm going to click on this so that I can grab the URL up here, copy it, and come back over here, and then I'm going to change the status from not listed to listed, and I'm going to just put that URL in there and continue. And now Vendoo knows that that is listed on eBay. I'm going to do the same thing with Mercari. Paste it in here. Now the reason that you want to do this whenever you import an item, if you have it listed on multiple different places already, so that whenever it sells on one of these sites, you can go in there, let's say it's sold on Poshmark, and then I could just change the status to sold, and then it will automatically take down the listing from eBay and Mercari for me, since it knows that it's listed on those two platforms and it has the URLs to go in there and delist the item for me. I don't have to do anything additional. Alright, let's go back to inventory and see what else we got here. So we've been on the active tab so far, but if you go over here to drafts, you can see any drafts that you have, and you'll see how you have a ton of blank drafts. And that is because I wanted to use up all of the listings that I purchased for the month before they expire. So up here at the top, you can see how many items you purchased for the month. I purchased 45, and how many you've used. So I've used 30 already. If I wanted to use the additional 15, let's say we were getting pretty close to February 2nd and I hadn't used those 15 additional listings yet, I could just press create new listing, and I could do that a couple of times, or I could go over here to active listings and I could copy a couple of different listings that I think I would use, and then all of those drafts would just come over here and I don't lose any of my listings that I purchased. If I just let them expire without creating the drafts, then they are lost and I can no longer use those items, because the next month will come, your subscription will renew, you'll get new items, and the old ones will be gone. The other thing that you can see here is your solds. So every time that you go into a listing and you mark it as sold on one of the platforms, it will then move from the active tab to the sold tab, and then you can see where it's sold, what date it's sold on, and then all the other information associated with your listing. They also have up here a multi-delete if you want to delete stuff, or an export inventory to CSV. You also have some settings here that you can change. Export CSV, you can filter it for specific dates if you want to, all inventory, customize the headers if you want to. Next, I'm going to list an item for you so that you can see what that looks like. Remember that the other options are over here. You can copy a listing if you want to make a similar listing to one that you already have, or you can just create. I'm going to drag and drop the photos in here. And if you click into any of these photos, you can see that there are various image editor options. You can zoom in, you can move it around, you can zoom out, you can rotate it, you can even invert it if you want to. You can adjust the brightness, contrast, and saturation, and then you can press save. Alright, then we can fill in our title here. Size small can be the first line of our main description here. We're gonna say okay, we're done with our description there. We want to add the brand, condition, color, secondary color if you wanted to add it. We don't have a secondary color here, but that is good for Poshmark because Poshmark does allow 2 colors. SKU if you have one. SKU is Z20. Tags. Okay, Vendoo internal notes if you wanted to note anything else about the item, like how much it costs. Category. It is 4 ounces and we are going to list it for $13. We're going to save and we're going to go to eBay. Now we are in the eBay tab, so that was the Vendoo general tab to get our information in there, and now it transferred as much as it could to the other tabs. So eBay now has a title, and that's exactly how we want our eBay title and description to look. It put in the brand, the color, the SKU. We're going to mark does not apply for the UPC. And then if you press cancel up here, it saves that category for you. And style, we're going to say bralette. Condition description, we're going to grab that from right up here and just paste it right down here. And we're going to show these additional options to see. We want to put in a size. This is why it's nice to be able to click on the photos, because I can check things like what the material is, and I can even zoom in if I can't see it. So it says polyamide and elastane. We could go all day with this stupid eBay item specifics. There's so many. Alright, we're going to keep the first class shipping policy. This is all filled in from me just connecting to eBay because I have eBay defaults saved, and you can even save on Vendoo a certain default that you want. I don't have to fill in my zip code, that's already saved for me. And the package weight was pulled from the Vendoo tab. I'm also using my default here of fixed price, and then it's always good until canceled. And I want to change my buy it now price a little bit because I always set my buy it now price to what I want it to be on Poshmark. So I'm going to change that so that it's set for what I want it to be on eBay. And then we are going to list it on eBay. Now we're going to go over here to Poshmark. The thing we got to change is the title, because the title is too long for Poshmark. It tells you right down here, which is really nice, how many characters you can use and how many characters you're currently using. So we can see that we're 30 over. Alright, now let's scroll down, see if we need anything else. So it doesn't look like the category transferred over, so we're going to go ahead and click women's. And it doesn't sometimes for certain categories, but it will for other categories, so it just depends. So this one we had to choose the bra and the size, and then we're going to add 0 for original price and list it on Poshmark. Poshmark's so quick, love it. Same with Mercari, you can see that we are over in the characters. It only allows 40 characters and we are at 80. Now we can scroll down, we can see everything else is filled in here, the brand, the condition, the color, the tags. Once again, category did not transfer over, so we're going to go ahead and choose size. On Mercari, you can't choose small as a size, so not much we can do about that. We're going to just go ahead and choose 34A as a size. And then we're going to choose no for free shipping, because I decided to no longer do free shipping. So if I wanted to, I could save as a default no instead of having my default, which is yes currently. We're gonna go ahead and list, and that's it. Done with it. And it would have been even faster if I was doing the copy feature instead of starting from scratch, but I wanted to show you what it looked like if you started from scratch. I really like Vendoo. I use it every day. It's super helpful. I love just being able to quickly filter to see what I need to list where. Now I'm going to show you guys List Perfectly so that you can see what kind of things are going on over there. This is what List Perfectly looks like in the actual website. You can search List Perfectly for various things. You can search by title, by keywords, by SKU, by marketplace, or you can just look through your list of items. I got the products into List Perfectly in one of 2 ways. I either created the product myself using this add product button, or by copying a listing using this duplicate button, or by using a template. And then the other way that you can get listings into List Perfectly is by importing them. And to do that, you simply go to one of the places that you have listings, and then you press the little List Perfectly button, and you can copy it to List Perfectly itself by pressing this and pressing copy. I'm not actually going to do it, but that's how that works. And then it will import your listing into List Perfectly. Other things that you can do in here, there is an edit entry for your listings. You press this button here if you want to cross post to Grilled, Mercari, Poshmark, eBay, Etsy, Tradesy, Facebook Marketplace, Depop, Citizen, or Shopify, if you have that option. If you paid for that level, it tells you the SKU, the price, shows you what marketplaces it's listed on. This one is listed on marketplaces, but I think I would have to refresh to be able to see them. And then the cool thing is, if you click on one of the marketplaces, you can actually see the item itself on that marketplace, which is pretty neat. And then if you need to make any changes there, you can. If you want to create a template for future listings, you can do that here. So let me do that for you guys so that you can see what it looks like. So it'll copy everything from the listing. And then you can just make changes as you see fit. And you can also delete by pressing the little trash can button. Draft listings is any listings that you have started and that are in draft that you have not finished creating yet. So let's try adding a product so that I can show you how that works. You press this add product button. We'll go ahead and add this little baby's Carter's onesie. So I want to choose file to get my pictures. Now, if you had a template, you could have just started from a template, or if you had a similar listing in List Perfectly already, you could just duplicate that listing and start from there, which is also a little bit faster. One of those photos did not upload correctly, so I'm going to once again pull that photo and bring it in. That is one of the glitches in List Perfectly. Photos don't always upload. Same thing happens in Vendoo, so it's not better or worse than any platform. That's just how it is with these guys, I guess. Now we can go down here and we can create our title. Carter's. It's red. I don't know what the material is. What does that say? See, the sad thing is you can't click on the picture, so you can't see what the material is unless you pull up your photo a different way. So 100% cotton, that's what we want. 18 months, short description. Style, one piece, pattern, plaid. Season or weather. Summer, I don't know. I'm gonna copy my condition into the condition notes. They show up in the description. I wouldn't need it in my description up here because I'm putting it down there and List Perfectly is going to add it for me. So whenever you're creating your descriptions, if you don't already have a set process like I do, you can just leave out the condition part, because there will be a section down here for you to put the condition, and then that will show up in the description itself. I just wish that it also showed up on the eBay condition statement section, but it doesn't. I forgot up here. We want to select babies because that's what it is. I've never tried that suggest title. I'm kind of curious about that. Okay, down here, measurements. If you have measurements, you can add those in. And then there's this bottom of description section. Great for shop policies or anything else you'd like your buyer to know. I don't put anything there, but you can. And then there's the keywords or tag section. We'll do 7 for the price, and MSRP if you have the original price. You can add a SKU if you want. I do have a SKU to add. I'm going to add T32 as my SKU, which is just your inventory number. UPC if you have one, quantity if you have more than one, variations, support for cross-posting to marketplaces with variations coming soon. Click the plus symbol to add additional rows. So if you have variations in the items that you're listing, this is where you put in your weight. So mine is 4 ounces, so I'm going to put that in the ounces, and then I'm going to put my zip code here, and then shipping package length, width, height. If you want to add the measurements of your package, you can. I usually just skip that as well. If your item has sold, select sold. So this is what you come back to whenever an item has sold, and you can select sold, and then it will remove the item from the other marketplaces for you if you have it listed in List Perfectly. You can also add some information about your item, such as cost of goods, fees or other costs. Also with shipping, you can also add in how much it's sold for. So that's kind of cool that it has all these sections for keeping track of your profit and stuff. Whenever you list an item, it will populate the item numbers here. You can customize a few things here if you want to. If you have anything additional you want to say about the item in the notes, you can put that there. And if you want to save it as a draft, you can, or you can just save it and it'll go in the normal product inventory area and not in the draft specific inventory area. After it saves, that's when you can do the cross posting. So now that it is a listing in the List Perfectly catalog, I can go ahead and press this button and I can select all the marketplaces I want to list it to, and then I press copy. The other option there was end listing, and then I could select mark as sold if it was listed on one of those platforms and I wanted to say that it's sold on one of those platforms. I could do that instead. So now it is currently loading up the listings. Takes a second. If I scroll up here to the top of Mercari, I can see all of my pictures have been added in. I can see that they shortened my title because it was too long for Mercari. Mercari only has 40 characters, so let me check to see what I want in my title. Okay, then it does not choose the category for you, so you have to choose the category, and I'm gonna go with boys one pieces. Carter's got filled in. Do I have to choose a model? We're just gonna go with other. And then we're gonna go with 18 months. Buyer pays. That's fine. And then we can list it. And then over on the Poshmark side, you can see once again the photos are in there. We got a pretty good title. Once again, they just shortened it because there were not enough characters in Poshmark, so we're just going to fix up the title a tiny bit. You can see here in the description what they did. They added anything that I added in the specifics, they kind of put as a little bullet point here, and then they put in size in all caps, and then they have the size, and then they have the condition in all caps, and they have the condition that I put in the on the List Perfectly side. So if I wanted to just make my short description in List Perfectly really short, I could, because all of this information is going to be added for me in the description. Category is kids. Once again, you have to fill in the category yourself. I guess it's a bodysuit. With List Perfectly, it does not fill in the category for you. This is an 18 months. Carter's red. Everything else is filled in except for the original price. If I had put in original price in List Perfectly, it would have showed up there. And lastly, over on the eBay side, eBay automatically updated all these items for me. The category is filled out here: clothing, baby toddler, one pieces, which was done by eBay, not by List Perfectly. A condition statement I have to add in myself. I can adjust the price, get rid of best offer there, make it free shipping. So I'm just making any changes that I want to make. A lot of this was filled in by eBay themselves, and then a lot was filled in by List Perfectly themselves, so it doesn't take too long. Then you can list the item. So that is how it works if you are to list the item yourself. Now, if you wanted to cross-list from a marketplace to another marketplace, you can easily do that as well. You can see all of your listings on whatever platform. So this is eBay, and you can see the little List Perfectly symbol beside each item. So you can scroll down to whatever you want to cross-list, and then you just press the little symbol and you select whatever you want to cross-list to. If I were to click one of these, let's say I wanted to list from eBay to Mercari, I could easily do that. It will just open a new tab with the Mercari listing, and it will start filling out the listing for me. Alright, so it showed up here, and then I can scroll up and I can see all the pictures it copied over from eBay. I can see the title once again is cut off because eBay has a longer title than Mercari. I can see that I need to add in the hashtags because it's not going to know what hashtags I want. eBay doesn't have hashtags like that. I would need to select a category. It does fill in the brand. It does pick a condition and a color. I would need to fill in the shipping options myself. And the price is carried over from eBay as well. See, I had it as $21.95, so it reduced it to $21 for me because you can't have cents on Mercari. So I'm not going to do anything with this because it's already listed over there, but just wanted to show you what that looks like. And then on Poshmark, same deal. And if you want to do it in bulk, you can start selecting, and then you can select all the items that you want to cross list, and then you can do it all at once. You just press stop after you're done, and then you select whatever you want, and it'll start popping up all the tabs up here for you. I'm not actually going to do that because I don't want a million tabs to start popping up and populating listings, but that is what the bulk lister is. And there's something else I wanted to show you over on List Perfectly. View sales analytics. If you were inputting all of your cost of good information, your fees, your total price sold and whatnot, all that information would be here. And then if you want to download, you can do a download of all that information, and it will give you an Excel document. That is what that looks like. Oh my gosh, it's a little rough because the custom description is really big. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And we are back. I hope that you guys enjoyed that walkthrough and it helped you learn a little bit more about each site so that you can see how the different design looks in each site, which one seems like it might be more user-friendly for you, or which one might better suit your needs. Now I want to talk about how you can go about choosing which site works for you if you have not already made up your mind about which one you like better. So I want to give little awards to each platform depending on different criteria. Award for cheapest price goes to Vendoo. You already knew that. Vendoo is definitely the cheapest. Their lowest plan costs $8.99 a month. Of course, it is the smallest amount of listings. It's only 25 total listings that you can get. Whereas with List Perfectly, if you go with their lowest plan, you can get unlimited cross-listing from marketplace to marketplace. But if you are very part-time and you don't really do a lot of listing or cross-listing and you just need something to help you get the items onto different platforms and you don't want to pay that much because you're not going to be utilizing it that much, $9 a month isn't that bad. Of course, you would have to pay that additional $4.99 or $11.99 depending on how many of the different add-on features you want. So definitely consider that if you are planning on utilizing any of those additional add-on features. Next award, best for cross-listing. List Perfectly. I have to give it to List Perfectly here because they have the option of marketplace to marketplace cross-listing. So if you already have all of your items listed on eBay and you want to give Poshmark a try, Mercari a try, Depop a try, Kidizen, all of these different sites, you want to give them all a try, you can do that with their lowest plan an unlimited amount of times on all 10 of the different platforms, which is pretty cool. Now the big but there is that you only get the item specifics that they give you in that lowest plan, which is the images, the titles, and the description. So there would still be quite a bit of work for you to do for completion of all of those different item specifics. also, with the most basic plan, you don't get the bulk cross post. So if I were considering doing cross listing from marketplace to marketplace, I would actually pay for the next plan up, which is the business plan, because it would give you so many more item specifics that would be cross listed for you. It would require a lot less work, and you could use the bulk cross listing feature. Okay, the next award goes to the best software for relisting. Vendoo, for sure. And the main reason being is that whenever you list an item on Vendoo or import it into Vendoo and then you cross post it onto the different sites that you want to cross post it to, all of that information is now stored in Vendoo. So anytime you want to delist and relist in the future, it is as simple as pressing the delist button and pressing the relist button and you're good to go. I relist on Vendoo every single day and it does not take a lot of time. I have my VA do it for eBay every day, and then I go in there and do it for Mercari every day. And in the new year, I'm thinking about doing it on Poshmark every day as well, because having your items freshly listed on these platforms is so important to getting them seen and getting your items sold. And if you're not listing consistently daily, relisting is really a good backup to keep your closets fresh and keep the sales rolling in. And the award for most features goes to List Perfectly. Gotta give it to List Perfectly here because they do have some features that Vendoo doesn't have. The only feature Vendoo has on that List Perfectly doesn't have is the image editor. What List Perfectly has on Vendoo is they have the bulk cross posting, they have the reusable templates, and they also have analytics. So if you want to store your what sold data into your List Perfectly catalog for each item as it sells, you can certainly do that, and then you have all those analytics right there at your fingertips. And the bulk cross posting, reusable templates, and analytics are pretty cool features that I think Vendoo could benefit from as well. Okay, moving on to the next award, which is the best bang for your buck. I'm going to give this one to Vendoo, and the reason why is because every month that you pay for the Vendoo service, you get a certain amount of listings for that month, and it is a cumulative process. You just keep building up your inventory in Vendoo. Whereas with List Perfectly, remember, you have to keep increasing the amount that you pay as you store more items in the List Perfectly catalog. For me personally with Vendoo, if I do not use all of the listings that I paid for, I can save them as drafts, and then I have those listings for the next month, and I can decrease the amount I'm paying Vendoo as I continue to use the drafts that I saved. So I can one month pay for the Vendoo $49.99 plan and get 600 listings, save them all as drafts, and then for the next few months I can decrease my plan to the starter plan of $8.99 and get those 25 listings a month, while I'm also working through the 600 that I had saved that I already paid for. Whereas with List Perfectly, if I were to get List Perfectly, I would pay for the business plan because that gives me all of the details for cross posting that I would want. I would get 300 total listings for that month. There's no such thing as saving drafts and not paying as much the next month. I would have to continue to pay in order to maintain the amount of products that I have in my List Perfectly catalog. If I were to decrease my plan from the business to the simple plan, which is $29 a month, I would only be allowed to have 100 items total in my List Perfectly catalog. Now, the way that I could see List Perfectly being a good bang for your buck is if you're just doing the marketplace to marketplace, but of course if you do that, you are missing out on being able to quickly mark an item as sold and delist from the other platforms that you cross-listed to, which is something that I regularly use on the Vendoo side. You also wouldn't have all of your inventory in List Perfectly to use the things like the analytics or the CSV download, or you would be missing out on a lot of the features by not keeping your listings in the catalog. But hey, maybe that's something that works for you and you don't really care about all that additional stuff, and therefore you are fine just doing the cross posting from marketplace to marketplace, which I can totally see a lot of people just needing that feature. Okay, real quick, I want to tell you guys about the trials for these two services, since you have heard everything you need to know. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to know more information about these two, I will link in the description down below a video specifically related to Vendoo and a video specifically related to List Perfectly so that you can learn more about these platforms. But real quick, let's talk about the trials that they have to offer. For Vendoo, they offer 5 listings to try out for free. Test everything out that Vendoo has to offer, and you don't need a credit card in order to start on Vendoo. They will give you those 5 listings. You can give it a shot and see if you like it. If you want to proceed with using Vendoo, I do have an affiliate link down below in the description that will give you 25% off your first month plan, and I would really appreciate it if you guys do want to sign up for Vendoo, if you would use that link. List Perfectly does not have a free trial, but you are covered by a 100% money back guarantee. You must sign up with a credit card and select the plan. You try it for 3 days or up to 20 cross posts, whichever comes first. If you don't like the service, you can request a refund if you are within that 3-day window or have not used over 20 cross posts. And if you want to sign up for List Perfectly, please check out the additional informational video I included below. It was done by Kaylee Elaine. She is another reselling YouTuber. She has an amazing channel. If you haven't checked her out yet, you definitely should. And she has an affiliate link in her description that you can use to get some sort of additional savings for List Perfectly, and you can also support another reselling YouTuber, which I think is awesome. If you're not supporting me, go support her, or just don't get any of these cross-listing services, whatever you want to do. Final thoughts. Going into this, I was definitely very curious to try out List Perfectly because I had heard so many good things about it, and I wanted to see if maybe it was better than Vendoo, because all I had ever tried was Vendoo, and if List Perfectly was better, I was perfectly fine with jumping ship over to List Perfectly. I do think the best thing that List Perfectly has going for it is that marketplace to marketplace cross-listing that you can do an unlimited amount of times. I think that is very cool. I also like that they give you all of the different marketplaces right off the bat, even with their lowest plan. I think that's great, and you don't have to pay any additional amount. Of course, it is hard to maintain too many platforms, so the fact that Vendoo only allows 3 unless you pay the additional $4.99 is not really a hindrance to me, because I'm only regularly cross-posting to 3 different sites anyways. You don't want to spread yourself too thin doing this stuff. At the end of the day, I am going to stick with Vendoo because of the relist delist function and because of the sold function. So I'm sorry, that was a lot of information. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like down below. It really helps let YouTube know that this was a good video that you enjoyed, and it helps push it out to other people that may want to see this kind of information. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I put out new reselling content every single week, and I would love to have you along the journey. Oh, I almost forgot. If you guys enjoyed this video, get excited, because I am working on a Vendoo versus List Perfectly timed test challenge where I'm doing multiple different timed tests, and I'm going to see which platform is faster. I'm going to try my best to make it as fair of a challenge as I can, because I genuinely want to see which platform is faster at cross-listing. If you want to see that video, make sure to hit that bell notification, be subscribed, change that bell notification to all so that you are notified whenever that video comes out. It will be an interesting one, I can promise you that. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Bye!